What's going on, guys? Gogeta here, and after a very unexpected amount of support on the initial Lost Judgment review, which just hit 5,000 views as of recording this, so thank you guys very much, it is time for the next chapter. This is the review of the Lost Judgment Season Pass and whether I believe you should buy it or not. But before we begin, I just want to give a sincere thank you to everybody who has supported the first video, watched it, and all that. That video has done so well. It blew my expectations out of the water. I didn't know it would do even like 1,000 maybe. You know, most of my videos average around 200-ish, and you know, the max was like 700-ish. But you know, that video really made me feel like, you know, there's a community of people who actually enjoy what I make. So I'm definitely going to try to get more reviews out. I've had computer problems, but you know, that all should be sorted now. So I don't want to take too much of your time, so let's just get into it. And yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Starting in release order, going from this roadmap on the screen, is the Detective Essentials Pack. This includes new detective dogs, a new skateboard and skatepark for the Skater School story, a new drone for drone racing, more powerful than any of the base game ones, new extracts, additional girlfriends, because Yagami is just a player like that, new Master System games, and an even harder Shin Amon fight. How are you going to steal my moves and style on me at the same time? If I could, I would come through the screen and fuck! A lot of this DLC is cosmetic stuff or isn't a huge game changer, so we'll go from least significant to most significant. The new detective dogs are essentially just recolored rampos from the base game, but if you value that, then it's there. The new drone is cool, but doesn't really add a whole lot besides making the drone racing easier if you struggle with it, since it gives you a lot more durability and you can put all the max upgrades on it. The new Sega Master System games are definitely cool if you want to have some game-in-gameception, and the games can be pretty fun as well, but to me personally, they don't add a whole lot. This is completely subjective though, so you may enjoy them and get a lot of time out of them. Here is a list of all of the games that they added in the DLC, so you can choose whether you think it is worth it or not. The new extracts are actually really neat, and I enjoy using them a lot. The new extracts included in the DLC are the Lightning Blade, Telekinesis, Instaflux, Unyielding Wave, Guardian Spirit, and the Temporal Zen extracts. The Lightning Blade extract gives Yagami a gigantic lightning-powered blade from the heavens that he can strike down goons with. It has some unique animations and does some insane damage, so it definitely gets a thumbs up for me, especially for making me feel like Raiden or Delson or something like that. The Telekinesis extract is pretty self-explanatory. Yagami gains the ability to pick enemies up through the power of detective work and chokes them out. It only has one move and it lasts a pretty long time, so I wouldn't use it a lot, but it does look really cool when you do use it, so I'll give it that.
Oh, let's go! That's class!
The Instaflux extract is at the very least my second favorite, but could very well be my favorite. This extract lets you cancel any of your standard moves in the Flux Fissure with the circle button in the case of PlayStation. This lets you do some sick things, such as the Snake Deflection and the Flux Fissure, and a lot more. RGG must have heard me when I said Flux Fissure got nerfed in Lost Judgment and immediately went and made it godlike again. I may fill my entire inventory with these extracts. Here are some examples of what you can do. Unyielding Wave is an extract that allows you to stream a key beam like one of your favorite shonen heroes.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes.
Oh, what the fuck you talking about?
Yagami channels his inner energy to produce a powerful arrow-like blast that pierces through the enemies. Just look how effective it is. Really though, it has a very long startup time, doesn't do a lot of damage, and has a narrow range. It is very flashy though, and I think that's what they were going for. Guardian Spirit to me, bluntly, is pretty lame. I don't like being too negative, but I don't see myself ever using this extract again unless I was trying to make a combo video or something along those lines. All it does is create a bunch of orbs that circle around you and stun the enemy when it hits them. It's supposed to be used as a defensive tool, but it really isn't that helpful since you could alternatively just dodge or roll out of the way, or use the Snake Deflect. Overall, this extract is just a miss for me, because its purpose is pretty pointless. Now, going from my least favorite extract is possibly my favorite one in the whole game, competing with Instaflux, and that is the Temporal Zen. This extract will periodically slow down time around you while making your speed stay normal. This can be insane for adding a lot of flair to your gameplay. Actually, you know what? Temporal Zen is my top one and my beloved. Instaflux, get your ass off the throne. What other extract can turn Yagami into a damn Matrix character? The utility and drip that could come from this is insane, so this is a great extract, and if you value combat a lot in this game, this could add a lot of value to this DLC, as it did for me. Next up on the list that I cooked up is the skating editions. It includes a hoverboard that is one of the better skateboards in the game, if not the very best. I did a speed comparison here, so we'll be able to see together in the editing process if it is truly the fastest. Regardless of that though, it functions the same as a normal board but has some unique hovering animations and sounds. It is pretty cool though. The skating school story had some additions to it in this by having additional skate parks and courses to skate on. There are only 3 new courses to skate on, but they are pretty fun. They have some more unique obstacles to deal with than the base game courses, so it can be more interactive and challenging to play through, and this is a pretty good thing. If you like the skating minigames, then you'll certainly appreciate the additional stages since they are very interactive. As I mentioned before at the beginning of this section, there is now an even harder Amon fight available in the Gauntlet. This fight is unbelievably annoying to be honest, but I suppose that's kind of the point of an Amon fight. You can't block his attacks because they pierce your guard like a knife, and with that piercing comes a bleed effect, so any attack you do you either have to dodge or deflect. Then he goes into his bullshit where he pulls out your own moves and extracts to take you down, and every time you get knocked down, he refills an entire health bar. You can't reuse heat actions either because they do no damage. It's definitely a challenge, so if you want a hard as shit fight, then this is the one for you. I will admit though that having constant access to the Amon fight without needing to save is pretty awesome.
I can't even fucking move! I couldn't fucking move!
Girlfriends are by far the largest part of this DLC. There are an additional 10 side cases for them and become available as you progress through the relationships and the main story. The 3 girlfriends in this DLC are Tsukino Saotome, who was a girlfriend in the first Judgment game, Minato Todo, and Kyoko Hakase. Each of the girls have their own problems, personalities, and story arcs to experience, and in my opinion, they are done very well. Let's go over them. It's a little bit hard to go into specifics without outright spoilers, but I'll give a general idea of how the story started out so you can kind of gauge your interest with them. Minato Todo is an anxious girl, and her story starts with meeting her in a mascot costume, where she is clearly overworking herself, so Yagami offers to help. He goes around in a mascot outfit and stops crimes and bad things from happening in Theater Square while in the mascot costume. Kyoko Hakase's story begins with stumbling upon her seemingly startled at night by herself. Yagami introduces himself, and after some traded words, she says she feels like she's being watched by someone or something. Yagami then tells her to call him if she ever feels like she's being watched again. There's a lot more to this, and this is just the beginning, but as I said, no spoilers around here, so I'll leave it at that. Tsukino's is the longest one because before you can even start the girlfriend process, you have to help her regain her memory. The Twisted Trio from the previous game, including Ass Ketchum, Professor Panny, and Judge Creepin' Pete, have escaped from jail and have teamed up with yet another pervert from the previous game, Giant Impact. This causes Tsukino to lose all memory of that time as a coping mechanism. The things the game makes you do to go through and solve this case are quite possibly some of the funniest content in the entire game. Just as a sneak peek, I want to show one clip. If you want to go in completely blind, then feel free to skip to this point shown on the screen here. It's a very minor spoiler of a single side case, but out of courtesy, I'm not going to just show it for no reason.
Oi!
Once you solve that case, then you can begin the girlfriend aspect. The journey of becoming her girlfriend is a lot different than the other ones, but if you want to figure out why, then you'll have to play it for yourself. All of these stories have a lot of humor, charm, and character to them. It's quite impressive how they managed to make a cast of girls have so much depth with such little time that you actually end up spending with them, with Tsukino being the exception since she had development and growth over the first game as well. I found myself smiling and laughing as I played through them, and that's a sign you've made a very good piece of content. So, is the Detective Essentials worth it? I would say yes personally. I feel it adds a lot of good, quality content with the girlfriends, and the extracts and the Super Amon fight add a lot of value for me as well. The other things mentioned are cool, but I wouldn't say they make this DLC. If you buy this pack standalone from the Season Pass, it's $10. Whether the standalone price of $10 is worth it is up to you. I personally just got it with the Season Pass as the thing I valued most from the DLC was the Kaito Files, but we will get there soon. With that said, how about the School Stories expansion pack? Let's talk about it. So for the School Stories expansion pack, I think it is cool, but honestly, it doesn't add a whole ton. It is only $5 standalone, which softens the blow, but unless you value the combat in this game, like I do, then I honestly don't know if I would recommend it as a standalone. But if you look at it as the bonus to the season pass, then it's probably worth it in that case. I don't even really need to cut this one into sections because it's so short, so we'll just start from the top to the bottom on this roadmap, which begins with the new motorcycle, parts, and a new course. This new motorcycle is the best one in the game and has more stats. The new course is pretty cool since it utilizes all of the aspects of the mode with the different enemies and things on the course such as ramps. Next is a dance club outfit and special moves. It adds a student uniform for both Yagami and the girl dancers, as well as new moves to increase your score, make moves easier to hit, and etc. There aren't any new songs, which is a bummer in my opinion. I think that would have added a lot more value to this. The new dance moves are really nice, so I'll give it that, but no new song really deals a blow to the replay value this had potential to bring. There's a new robot for the Robotics Club's School Story minigame. I think this is the worst part of this entire DLC if I'm being honest. I don't think this robot is worth using at all unless you're near the beginning, but if you finished everything like I have, then it just doesn't feel all that great. Its special aspect is that you move really fast through the enemy's occupied spaces, which I suppose could be helpful if you put it onto an AI, but the gameplay is essentially the same as any other robot and doesn't really do anything game-changing in my opinion. Overall, I feel like it's just a waste. One of the cooler parts of this DLC is being able to spar versus Sugiura, Higashi, and Kaito. The only problem I have with this DLC is that, as with the Robotics Club, if you have completed this school story and done everything for it, then the fights are way too easy. I beat all 3 of them in the first round and I was hardly trying. They also used the generic opening animation that pretty much every other boxer throughout the school story uses. I think this had a lot of potential, but all of the things I mentioned seriously dampened the experience. Now for the sole thing I really recommend this DLC for, is being able to use the boxing style of the boxing school story on the streets of Yokohama and or Kamurocho to beat up enemies with. It's a fairly standard style and slightly reminds me of the rush style from Kiryu's Arsenal, albeit with a lot of different things about it. Since it's a boxing style, it focuses heavily on counters. The counters are pretty damn powerful because as you can see in this clip on the screen, I take out 2 goons in 1 counter. Shit like that makes it feel really satisfying to use. If you use it in conjunction with the other styles, as you should be, then its attack speed is further, making it an even larger threat. You'll be moving like a cheetah and stinging like a fucking 50 caliber sniper rifle. You can also set up juggles and combos with the uppercut, which can be set up through either a forward and back step, or in a combo with the square, triangle, into the circle button. On Xbox, that would be X, Y, into the B button. It's really fun to do these juggles because you have the enemy in the air for roughly 10 seconds and do pretty good damage. It's pretty sick looking. There is also the option of using the heat actions that you unlock in the boxing school story as well. They do massive damage since they are all designed to lay into your enemy in the most efficient way possible. There's a cross counter, a piercing straight which sort of resembles a solar plexus type blow. Don't get on me if this isn't correct, I'm not a boxing pro, please. And a flurry of blows that look brutal as hell. I mean, just look at this dude, holy Christ!
You got knocked the fuck out!
The hidden art for the boxing style is also counter based. With every successful counter attack, the EX gauge will start increasing more and more. If you do multiple counters in a row, then you can have your EX gauge increase by a staggering amount. And since it's a hidden art, you can stack the EX gauge increase onto other fighting styles which can get very crazy very fast. This style seems to be focused on finishing enemies very fast with lots of precision. The reason I say this is because all of the counters and skills such as God Vision, Reaper Vision, and the hidden art that give you lots of EX gauge boosts, making it very easy to just activate EX boost and destroy everything in sight. I honestly think the School Stories expansion pack DLC as a whole is pretty underwhelming, but if you value the combat in this game like I do, then the boxing style might make the standalone $5 that it's priced at a compelling offer. If you do not though, then I think the things it adds are not going to add a whole lot to the experience. With that being said, this is a season pass review, and it's based around whether the $35 that it costs as a whole is worth it. Maybe the School Stories expansion pack won't add much worth to it, but the Kaito Files certainly will. No dilly-dallying here, let's just go into it. I think the Kaito Files DLC all by itself makes the season pass worth it. The storytelling of this DLC was really fucking good. The combat was fun, and it didn't overstay its welcome. It also produced a lot more lore for Kaito, as well as unique mechanics such as the primal nose and primal ear, which are used as his detective tools instead of the detector and etc. that Yagami used in the main game, and I'll get to that in a bit. The main plot, without going into too much detail, is that Yagami is out on a case and leaves Yagami Detective Agency in Kaito's hands. A CEO of a company inquires Kaito about a certain case that he believes only Kaito is capable of handling, and the story goes on from there. There's lots of funny moments, surprising moments, intense moments, and etc. throughout the story that you would expect. One of my favorite parts of this DLC is that it has a very dense amount of long battles and a single addition to the stealth sections that makes them way better. Look at it here. I really appreciate that they did it this way, because as amazing as the base game was, it was severely lacking in long battles. The stealth sections were mostly fine, but the fact you can actually counter the enemies when they detect you makes it so much more satisfying and less grueling when you slip up, because Yagami could easily take out that goon in one punch if he really wanted to. Now for the combat. Kaito has Kiryu's brawler and beast styles to fight with, albeit with a few changes to give him some individuality. Although he does share EX actions with Kiryu, there is lore to the reasons that he learned these through the skill descriptions. You unlock these skills by using the primal nose, eye, and ear throughout the city, and finding certain memories, crests, and cats. The brawler style, hold on, let me check my script again. Sorry, the bruiser style focuses on a balance of fast and powerful punches. The main part of this style is the repel, which will deflect an enemy's attack. This doesn't work on weapons and deadly attacks, but you can unlock a skill that allows it to work versus knives as well. The hidden art is tied in with this. Once you perform a repel, Kaito's attack speed will be increased. There's also a traditional counter that you can do after getting hit, which I like to dub as the rebuttal attacks. These are really helpful, at least on the higher difficulties where it feels like the AI are constantly throwing attacks your way. Really though, it is very similar to Kiryu's brawler style, so if you've played the Yakuza games then you know what you're getting into for the most part. The only real difference is with the engine itself, allowing you to do juggle combos that normally are not possible with Kiryu's iterations of the styles. Next up is the tank, which is like the beast style as I said before. Its attacks are slower, but damn if they don't pack a hell of a punch. Pretty much everything in the game will get demolished by Kaito if there are things around for him to pick up on the battle, such as bikes, chairs, and things of that nature. Shit, I think he'd even make the Hulk blush. Tank's hidden arts stem from the Iron Guard ability. This ability allows you to deflect most attacks aside from bullets, deadly attacks, and a few other specific attacks. The hidden art increases your defense temporarily after performing this. It's kind of hard to go into specifics for the style because it truly does just boil down to pick up everything, slam it on a person's head, and they die. Instantly. There are some cool counters and EX actions that come with it though. You can pick people up and throw them around like a cheap back page whore once you unlock the certain skills. One of my favorites to do is while you get hit with the Iron Guard available, you can just press the circle button to do a grab. The grab is like a massive bear hug, and then Kaito just chucks the enemy away. Makes sense when you go off the description. There are tons of throws and things like this as well. The EX sections are also based on throws. So if you're into wrestling and things of that nature, then this will probably be right up your alley. I actually struggle to get footage for certain things because enemies would just die so fast. Depending on who you are, this could be a negative thing, because unless you fight the 3 masked warriors who hunt you down, which will probably scare the shit out of you the first time you encounter them like they did for me, then the combat is almost too easy when you use this. It is very satisfying to use, I'll admit, since killing enemies in the blink of an eye can be pretty sweet. But if you want those long juggle combos I was talking about, it's very hard to pull it off on a normal enemy before they die. Granted, for the average player, this won't be a huge concern. With that being said, I'll show a couple clips now to show what Kaito has to offer with the juggles. I'll put credits to the users I feature in the description as well as on the screen, so go support them if you have the time. Once you get the hang of both styles, then you can do cool stuff as seen, or just demolish the opposition with some hard-hitting attacks and EX actions. Here's a small montage of some of my favorite heat actions Kaito has as well. Now, the main things that need to be mentioned about the Kaito Files are this. There are no side cases, there is no premium adventure, so legend is unlocked from the start. Most of the activities in the base game are available, while some are absent. It takes around 10 hours to 100% in my experience, and there are 5 new additions to the OST. I don't think the fact there are no side cases should deter you though. I think the story makes up for it. For the activities like batting around the city, you can get various things from doing them, such as records of the songs that Yagami dances to in the Dancing School story. This DLC also introduces the greatest thing in video gaming history, being able to play darts with Higashi as Kaito. If that doesn't tell you to buy the DLC, then I don't know what will. Seriously though, if you want a more in-depth look at the side content of Kamurocho, then allow me to direct you to my Lost Judgment review, which will pop up at the top right of the screen now. I put a lot of work into that one, and if you haven't watched it yet, then I would very much appreciate that. I think the Season Pass is something I can certainly recommend, if not for the Kaito Files itself. I think the Season Pass as a whole brings a satisfactory amount of content that overshadows the negative things I thought about it, such as the School Stories expansion pack at large. The Detective Essentials pack and Kaito Files on the other hand are for the most part exceptional. If I had to give the Season Pass a rating as a whole, I wouldn't say 8 or 9 out of 10, but the Kaito Files alone is either a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. I feel like this DLC is what gaming should strive to do with additional content, rather than holding back on content and releasing it later like a lot of developers do. EA! So as always, I appreciate everybody for watching the video. I'm so sorry that it took me so long to get this DLC review out, but a lot of things happened. School, freaking computer problems, all sorts of crap happened, but I'm going to try to get reviews out. I got that Metal Gear Rising review, which I was supposed to make forever ago, so that's coming soon, hopefully. I have to re-record the footage for that, but I'm going to get it out, I promise to you guys. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a whole lot to me. Leave me some feedback. You know, I'm always looking to improve my content. You know, no matter what kind of feedback it is, I want to hear it. Your voice matters a lot to me. So, yeah, with that being said, love you guys, man. Take it easy, have a good summer, and I will see you all next time.